Hey guys, I wanted to share a sleep paralysis story with you guys. I feel like it's the most terrifying thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life. I have a couple of stories here. And what is sleep paralysis, you say? I'm sure most of you already know. But imagine waking up to find you can't move a muscle. It's dark, but you're sure you feel a presence in the room, hovering near your bed, or perhaps sitting on your chest, crushing the breath out of you. This weird phenomenon is known as sleep paralysis. Believing that sleep paralysis is brought on by the supernatural, on the other hand, makes people feel more unnerved. Sleep paralysis occurs when the brain and body aren't quite on the same page when it comes to sleep. During rapid eye movement, REM sleep, dreaming is frequent, but the body's muscles are relaxed to the point of paralysis, perhaps to keep people from acting out their dreams. I'm going to start with my story. I was asleep on my back in my bed in the basement, and on the left corner of my bed, at the end of it, I saw a man. He was a dark figure with a black hat. You could only see around him, like you couldn't see his face, or his eyes were just glowing, and the way he was staring at me is if he wanted to kill me. I couldn't move. I didn't know what was happening, and all I could do was move my eyes. There was something at the end of my bed watching me. It felt like I was being dragged towards them. I remember trying to scream, but no noise was coming out. I had to slowly fight to get control of my body. It was one of the scariest experiences of my life. I've been having the same dream regularly since I was a child. I wake up and I'm in my bed. There's someone in the house. I can hear the footsteps moving around, coming up the stairs slowly. If I stay still, maybe the person won't come for me. I can hear him coming down the hall, and I can see his shadow. He's a minotaur. He has a knife, and he's coming for me. I scream. I wake up, relieved, except there's someone at the bedroom door, and this time I can't scream. I get sleep paralysis quite a lot, but you don't get used to it. It's just intense pressure holding you down. I can't speak. I can usually see the shadow of a dark figure out of the corner of my eye, but I can't turn my head to look at it. That's pretty terrifying. Luckily for me, my partner is now used to this and we have a code. I start breathing really quickly and loudly, and if he notices that, he helps me snap out of it. I couldn't move. My chest felt crushed. It was hard to breathe, and I could hear a loud hammering a few feet away. A robed figure sat on my chair and slowly moved towards me. As it got closer, a menacing skull appeared. The only thing I could move were my eyeballs. It happens every time I fall asleep on my back. I wake up and I can't tell if my eyes are open or shut, but I can see my whole room. A dark presence is lurking on top of my wardrobe, and as soon as I notice it, I try and scream, but I can't scream, and I can't move. The darkness slithers down the side of my wardrobe, across the floor, and looms over the end of my bed. Then it creeps all over me, trying to invade every orifice. I feel an immense pressure, like it has pinned me down and is pushing its way to my ears, eyes, and mouth. The darkness then screams a terrible screech into my face, and I try to scream back until eventually I manage to jerk my head and everything disappears. And I'm alone in the darkness. It is the most terrifying of experiences. I usually see someone come into my room with a crazed grin, staring at me. I try to scream, but I can't. They lean over and start suffocating me. It's a sense of overwhelming helplessness. The whole time I'm just repeating to myself, wake up, wake up, wake up. I get it every now and then, but I know how to deal with it now. The absolute worst was when I was staying in a hotel with my boyfriend at the time. I remember trying to scream and move, anything to get his attention, but nothing I did would make a sound. It was terrifying. Then I got up to tell him what happened, and he bolted upright and strangled me. And then I finally woke up, incredibly shaken but glad it wasn't real. Honestly, one of the scariest situations in my life, and it wasn't even reality. The first time it happened to me was when I went for a nap during the day. I was lying on my side facing away from my door when I woke up to the sound of my door closing. I tried to turn around to see who had came in my room, but I couldn't move. My eyes were wide with terror. I could see everything in my room. I heard this thing walk around in my room. Then it sat on my bed and I could feel the bed dip from its weight. It then shuffled towards me, and it felt like it began to spoon me. It was extremely tall. I was trying to move so hard, but I was just lying still. The thing started breathing on my neck and tickling my back. It then stood up and left after a few minutes. This was the most terrifying thing that has ever happened to me. I started experiencing sleep paralysis during the exam period of my first year at university. A very stressful time for me. The first time it happened, I woke up with the feeling I was being suffocated. My bed was literally swallowing me up. The more panicked I got, and the faster my pulse and breathing became, the quicker I was disappearing into the bed. I couldn't move a muscle, and my attempts to scream were silent. After I calmed myself down, I kind of drifted out of my paralysis state and woke up completely. The second time it happened, I awoke to see a very tall man standing by my door, holding something behind his back and moving towards me very slowly. Once again, I couldn't move, and I couldn't make a sound. It is definitely the most terrifying experience. My worst experience with sleep paralysis was after I've been up all night doing an essay. When I finished, I immediately dozed off. The next thing I knew, I thought I had completely woken up, except there was a shadow demon looming over the end of my bed. It didn't have a face, but I could feel it staring at me, and it felt like pure evil. I've tried with my whole body to scream, but nothing came out, which only made me panic more. I felt like the demon was about to attack me, then his head twitched to the side and he pounced on my chest, sort of trashing at me. I felt like it was suffocating me. I tried to close my eyes again and put all my energy into trying to wake up and move my body, the whole time with the demon hallucination still attacking me. When I was finally fully awake, I lay in bed for about half an hour, shaking and next to tears. It was probably the scariest thing I've ever experienced. I thought it was just a really vivid nightmare until a few months later when I first read about sleep paralysis online. The worst was seeing a dog sitting on one of my arms growling at me, and a girl whose face was covered with her hair was sitting on the other arm. I only woke up when she lay backwards and I felt her hair on my face. I got sleep paralysis a couple of times when I was a kid, but it became really bad in my second year of uni. I would wake up unable to move and feeling something sitting on my chest. It got worse when I started to see things. Always in the corner of the room, a dark figure I knew was watching me. Sometimes it would whisper things which of course freaked me out. One time I was dragged down the bed by this dark figure, unable to stop it. but I managed to force myself to wake up. When we moved out of the house after a second year, the sleep paralysis stopped, and I've only had 2 episodes in the 6 years since. I had a nightmare. I was hearing a 911 call of someone being attacked and woke up to a hallucination of the attacker in my room. I was living at home with my mom. I was unwell, so I was in bed all day. My mom was home with me. I must have fallen asleep as I never heard her open my bedroom door or walk across the room, but I felt her weight sit on the bed beside me. I heard her pick up my cup of water as if checking if I needed refilling, and felt her brush the hair from my face. Then all of a sudden, I was being choked. I felt hands around my neck. I couldn't open my eyes, as if they were glued shut. I tried to raise my arms to break free, but it was as if they'd been nailed to the mattress. I struggled to breathe and felt myself getting lightheaded. Then all of a sudden, it went, and I could open my eyes and move again. My mom was nowhere to be seen. She was upstairs at the neighbor's house. I'd woken up in my dorm room. It was a stormy night, around 4 in the morning, and still quite dark, though there was yellowish-orange light from the street lamp outside. The window at the foot of my bed had been left cracked open and was banging in the wind. I got up to shut it and stumbled back to bed, laying on my right side facing the wall with my eyes closed. It began with tactile hallucinations. I felt as if a pair of slightly clammy hands with thick fingers were gently stroking my face, in particular my lips, eyes, and ears, and prodding at my mouth. Eventually, this feeling gave me way to prickly pins and needles all over my body, and I felt very cold and buzzing, as if I were electrified or covered in static shocks. At the same time, a heavy ringing began in my ears, very loud, and in an even tone. It was at this point I got the sensation that there was someone else in the room, very close to me. I was able to open my eyes, and I felt this weight pressing down on the left side of my ribs and shoulder. The light from the street was blocked by shadow, and I realized that shadow had a solid form. It was about 3 or 4 feet tall, sitting on top of me. It had pointed ears, a pale yellow eyes with no pupils. I couldn't distinguish its face beyond the outline in its glowing eyes. I knew it was a demonic force of some sort, and I tried to scream. I felt the air leaving my throat, but only heard a faint whimper. I don't know how long this lasted, but eventually the apparition was gone, and I was able to move. I got up and turned on my bedside light and sat up until dawn. I wanted to end this with a story from Watch Dogs Playthroughs. He commented on one of my videos, and I really like his story a lot about his sleep paralysis. Remember, if you have something you want sent to me or a story you'd like me to read, just let me know. I'll read it for you. Send me the link, what you gotta do. Alright. The story goes, the way in which I sleep on my futon has my closet in full view. I was all tuckered out and nicely drifting towards sleep when I remembered I didn't close my window. I wanted to get up but couldn't move. This I immediately recognized as sleep paralysis and had already opened my eyes. Since nothing concerning happened before, I wasn't worried about this at all. But I was just laying there staring into my closet for a while when I started getting the feeling I'm being watched. I know the eyes are there peering at me and I can't see them. This is what I wanted to avoid, causing myself panic. Then it happened. Movement. I can see something moving. I tried convincing myself there's nothing really there. It's just my mind. It's just my mind. It's just my mind. Then it happened again. More movement. Now I'm certain a shadow is moving. I cannot move. I cannot make a sound. Then it leaped out and lands with a soft thud. It was my cat. She'll sometimes crash in my closet. Darn cat. Thank you for that story. I loved it. I'll see you guys next time. Sweet nightmares.